You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again today. We have another amazing show for y'all today. Man, we're going to be joining with our guest today, Chelsey Youman. She is the Texas State Director and National Legislative Advisor. She's been on this whole really hot topic, to say the least. And you go to the website, hecoaction.org, and get involved and learn more about Human Coalition Action. But first and foremost, Chelsey, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me today.
And I know you're busy, so I appreciate you taking the time in your schedule to talk to us today. We have a lot of updates to go over, but you've been hearing the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, the arguments that are being made on this topic with the abortion pill. What are some of the updates that you have found recently?
Yes. Well, for anyone who's following this case, it does feel that it's going up and down to multiple courts. So I just hope to give you guys an update on where this case is. You may remember that this is really the most important case, especially since Dobbs, when Roe was overturned, maybe ever. So essentially, a group of pro-life gynecologists have challenged the FDA's approval of the abortion pill regimen 20 years ago and said that the FDA has unlawfully approved the pill and continued their unlawful activity at every juncture for 20 years, and that the ramifications of that is harms to women. Of course, an unborn child dies when the pill is taken, but their mothers are also harmed. And so all of that is being challenged. And before the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals right now, the lower court district out of Amarillo, Judge Matthew Kaczmarek had an outstanding ruling. He just completely applied the laws to the facts and said the FDA did in fact break the law when initially approving this pill, and even cited Human Coalition's clients. Human Coalition serves pregnant women in need and who are seeking abortion. And we filed a brief before all of these courts saying, we know women are harmed because they're our clients and we have their stories right here. And so all of that has culminated in the oral arguments today.
And I was watching or listening because it was like a full screen graphic on C-SPAN, but it was some interesting back and forth, a lot of talking over each other, if you will. But what do you think are the arguments with the backing of like the pill and the doctors using it and whatnot? Are those arguments strong enough compared to some of the women's testimony? Or do you think women's testimony should be a little bit more exposed?
I think it's interesting here because what matters is the truth. Right? Not even necessarily where you stand on the morality of abortion or not. Of course, an innocent child dies every single time an abortion is successful, and that's horrific from our standpoint. But abortion issue aside, the question is, before the court, are women harmed when they take the abortion pill? And the FDA is burying their stories, burying the evidence, burying the studies. And we want to shed light on the darkness and say, women's voices matter too. And even if they're unpopular and don't fit with the pro-abortion narrative, the bottom line is women are showing up with pills in hand who are ectopic and could die if they took the pill. Medicaid data and ER data indicate that 35% of women who take the pill end up in the ER. They're hemorrhaging. They undergo traumatic experiences. We know their stories, and we want to advocate for them at Human Coalition Action because no one else really is. And so, of course, their voices matter and should be elevated. And the court, kind of going through the noise and looking at the truth and the data and the harms to women is really what this case is all about. Judge Kaczmarek had an outstanding ruling at the lower court that should be allowed to stand.
When you look at this and just hearing the back and forth, what do you think are the next steps for the public as far as I don't want to speak for anybody, but I would think people will know facts. What do you think is the next step for people to really understand what is at hand here and how they can be more educated on this
Yes, I think you can always go to ADF, Alliance Defending Freedom's website. They're the attorneys who are really fighting this case on the front lines. If you want to learn more about this case specifically, you could also go to humancoalition.org. You could look at our amicus brief if you want to hear our client's stories in their own words. And then, as always, holding accountable your elected officials, your state and federal representatives and senators. They're the ones that decide the fate of children in the womb and these mothers, and can pass laws right now to have stronger protections for both mom and baby. And so we want to encourage all of that. And you can also go to hucoaction.org and find out more there.
Once again, we're talking to our guest for today, Chelsey Youman, Texas State Director and National Legislative Advisor. I mean, you are really doing a great job working this. I know it's not easy for those who are interested to get involved and learn a little bit more about what you do and how they can contribute to basically help more people get educated. How can they do so?
Yes, well, we appreciate, of course, first and foremost, prayers and support. It is a great and hopeful time to be a part of the pro-life movement, but our work is really just beginning. And so we have a ton of work to do to rescue children. And you can consider supporting us at hucoaction.org. You can go donate to our efforts and help us expand into more and more states. We're in 7 states right now and want to really advocate for unborn children and their moms at the state level.
Once again, you go to 2 different websites. You can go to the one to get involved with, that's hucoaction.org, and you also learn more about the organization by going to humancoalition.org. I want to say thanks again to Chelsey Youman for your time.
Thank you for having me.